Ex-Interior Minister accepts state involvement in the execution of the West African migrants. Basuri Village Caliph General laid to rest. And GPRC launches the Gambia's first ever biometric P590 machine with a huge capacity. This on Gambia24, stay tuned. Good evening, you're watching Gambia24 News with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. The Caliph General of Basuri Village, Alhaji Yusuf Dabo, was laid to rest on Tuesday in his native village of Basuri. The Caliph General is believed to have lived for over 100 years until the sad event that occurred on Monday night at Afrimed Hospital. The Grand Marabout, who had been a Caliph for more than 43 years, was described by many as a great man in the history of the Gambia. Amanda tells us more.
Alhaji Yusuf Dabo, who is believed to be the longest-serving Caliph General of Basuri Village, died on Monday night and was laid to rest the following day in his village in the West Coast region. A large crowd gathered at his compound in Basuri, comprising government officials and diplomats, to mourn the death of a great man in the history of the Gambia. According to Musa Drame, the Minister of Local Government, Lands and Religious Affairs, the whole nation is in grief because the country lost a great Muslim leader.
The entire Gambia is sad today because this old man is known throughout the country. Almost everyone benefited from his knowledge and the way he goes by the deen in this country. He's a good man, and that is known by many in this country. Everyone is sad today, starting from the president down to the citizens, both the ones present in the country and those abroad, because a great man on the side of the deen has laid to rest today.
Alhaji Sekuba Sanyang of Brikama described the late Caliph Dabo as a pious man who lived his entire life pleasing the Almighty and His Messenger.
For Allah and Allah Kila.
Alhaji Yusufa is a pious man who believed in Allah so much, and he had lived his entire life pleasing Allah and His Messenger, because that was what his father had been doing, and that is what was transferred to him. He was a great Muslim who feared the Almighty and has been worshipping Him throughout. Alhaji Yusufa is a generous man whose doors were always open for everyone.
President Adam Barrow extends his condolences to the Dabo family on behalf of the government and the people of the Gambia. According to him, the Grand Marabout Alhaji Yusuf Dabo's demise will leave a void not only in the Dabo family, but their community and the country as a whole. He also described the Caliph as a father figure, grandfather, confidant, and a rock for many Gambians and non-Gambians, both in the country and abroad. He prayed for Allah to have mercy on his gentle soul and grant the family solace during these trying times. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amindao.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, the Gambia Printing and Publicity Corporation, GPRC, inaugurated its biometric P590 printing machine on Wednesday at the University of the Gambia campus in Canifing. This is the first time that such a machine is brought into the country. The machine has the capacity of producing 18,500 exercise books per hour on 4 ups and 22,000 exercise books per hour on 5 ups maximum. Our reporter Binta Jallo was at the event and she files in this report.
The leading printing and publishing company in the Gambia, GPRC, has launched a modern printing machine with the capacity to print over 18,000 books in an hour. Its first ever tribalizer machine. It could be recalled that in 2018, the Printing Corporation was mandated by the executive to print all government revenue materials, and this support from the cabinet has boosted the corporation's undertaking. Speaking at the event, President Adam Barrow says the event is another milestone achievement for his government.
The accomplishment of this Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation GPRC project is a huge development as it borders on both education and information communication technology, ICT. For obvious reasons, ICT is one of the critical enablers in the National Development Plan 2018-2021 for the realization of equitable access to basic services within the context of good governance and accountability. The exercise book production machine being commissioned today is worth about $50 million. It has come at a time when the impact of COVID-19 pandemic has brought about considerable delays in procuring goods and services from abroad. Consequently, having such a facility in the country will greatly help henceforth to guarantee timely provision of exercise books for our schools.
In a keynote address, the Managing Director of GPPC, Modu Sise, outlines the importance of the machine.
The installation of this trailblazer machine is a clear indication of the corporation's resolve to meet the dire needs of the country's thinning population regarding the acquisition of exercise books in our schools and the wider public. This is by every standard a remarkable achievement accredited not only to GPPC, but the country as a whole.
The Minister of Information, Communication and Infrastructure, Ibrahim Silla, says the current government has lifted the Gambia Printing and Publicity Corporation from its state of near collapse
to meet its basic obligations. But thanks to your leadership, Cabinet came up with a number of directives to revive the institution. Today, we are inaugurating a new printing machine with capacity to print more than 20,000 exercise books per hour. Mr. President, we are happy you are here because this machine, when optimally used, is expected to generate between $700 million and $1 billion of revenue for an institution which was already in coma in 2017.
The GPPC is a state-owned printing and publishing corporation which started operation as a fully fledged entity in January 2006. The corporation is formed through a merger of two former state-owned enterprises, namely the Book Production and Material Resources Unit and the National Printing Stationery Corporation. Reporting for iAfrica TV, Bintu Jallo.
GPPC launched a huge capacity printing machine that can print over 18,000 exercise books per hour and more. Now, the Gambia has on Tuesday received 36,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccine through the COVAX initiative. COVAX is the only global initiative that is working with governments and manufacturers to ensure equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines for both higher and low-income countries. Naisise has the rest of that. After months of struggles to get a vaccine to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic which ravaged the world with millions of deaths, the Gambia has finally received its shipment of 36,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses through WHO's COVAX initiative. COVAX is a global initiative aimed at equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines led by the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization, the World Health Organization, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, and others. The vaccination is expected to commence in the next coming weeks with frontline healthcare workers and vulnerable groups among the first groups to receive jabs in the Gambia. The imported vaccines is a 2-dose vaccine which should be taken twice between 7 to 8 days intervals. Speaking at the handing over of the vaccines, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadullah Samate, says the vaccination will first target prioritized groups including the elderly.
COVAX will provide vaccines for 20% of the population of the Gambia. The allocation will be able to vaccinate all those who are aged 40 years and above, including priority groups. This summing up to over 480,000 Gambians as projected in the 2013 census.
The WHO country representative Dr. Desta Turini says Gambia is among the countries that fulfill the requirements to have access to the vaccines. Dr. Turini says COVAX is working for safe distribution of the vaccines to end the virus globally.
And the most important aim at the end of doing all this is to end the acute phase of the pandemic, meaning the burden on the health service, the burden on the whole system will be relieved. If we have less people who are getting severe disease, we don't have to admit many people in the health facilities. If we don't do that, we'll be able to take care of others with other conditions of essential health services. And that if we do that, we'll be able to rebuild the economy very quickly. So this is the objective of the COVAX arrangement, and that's why we are very happy today to see this happening. So together with our partners, the WHO and its partners, through the COVAX facility, is working to support the equity.
Listen to and to be able to really absorb this information. The vaccine is secure. The vaccine helps to prevent COVID illness, and it also helps to curb transmission. And this is very important that you in the media transmit this information, because there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding the vaccine. So the key element, the vaccine is safe. The people who will be administering are professionally trained in the administration of the vaccine, and the people who receive the vaccine will be protected against COVID-19 illness.
Over the weekend, the Ministry of Health through COVAX received over 30,000 syringes and 375 safety boxes for their disposal ahead of arrival of vaccines. Gambia is expected to receive more COVID-19 vaccines in the next couple of months. These vaccines are expected to eliminate the deadly virus which has ravaged the globe with over 1 million deaths. The WHO's COVAX initiative is making efforts to ensure that countries, especially developing countries, get access to the COVID-19 vaccines. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. Gambia has received 36,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccines through the COVAX initiative. We will now go with a quick break and be right back. Stay with us.
Cheapest phone in the Gambia, AfriPhone, is back in a brand new style. AfriCell, the biggest and the best GSM operator in the Gambia, is setting trends once again.
Get an AfriPhone for $350 only and receive 1 hour of free talk time spread over 3 months.
$350 is only. You can get a dual SIM phone with a wireless FM radio, memory card slot, internet access, long-lasting battery, and 1 hour of free talk time.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back, and now to the rest of the news. We begin with the GPRC reports. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission still continues to hear revelations of witnesses who directly or indirectly have knowledge on the alleged massacre of the West African migrants in July 2005. On Wednesday, former CDS and Minister of Interior Babukar Jatta testified before the commission, saying he was briefed about the arrival of the migrants when he was celebrating the 22nd July anniversary. According to him, Jammeh's government was responsible for the massacre of the migrants. Khadijatu Seka tells us more.
Appearing before the commission, Babukar Jatta said he believes that the migrants were not mercenaries on virtues of their possession. He confirmed that the massacre of 8 migrants, which took place at the shores of Bulfoot, was ordered by the state.
The question is, these killings were sanctioned from State House. From everything that we have seen.
Yes.
Could you answer now for the cameras? Let everybody see you.
Yes. I admit to believe. I believed that was from the State House.
About a State House.
By Yaya Jammeh.
Is the president for sure?
The witness said that the migrants were not a threat as proclaimed because they did not carry any weapon that would make them suspicious, but instead they surrendered themselves without resistance during the course of their arrest.
There were 44 plus.
67.
Oh, it has gone up now.
Well, that is what it was.
And by virtue of their size, could have overpowered the station at Bara. Police but when they went to arrest them, they accepted and they came. To the stations. I think that if I were here to fight, at least I would have carried a hidden weapon. And those who went to arrest them were not armed.
Such as
pistols.
Mr. Jatta added that the then Inspector General of Police Usman Sonko had been involved in committing murder, and he was also involved in the massacre of the West African migrants.
that same person who was involved in the execution of Almamu Mane, Usman Sonko, was also involved in this. He was involved. And you knew he was a killer.
Yes. The mere fact that that was done under his command or him through himself is responsible.
Babukar Jatta was the longest serving army chief on the Jammeh since the military coup. In an interview on Coffee Time, Colonel Jatta alleged that Jammeh had killed more soldiers than civilians, but it was never disclosed because he believes that there is discipline in the army. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Khadija Tuseka.
That GPRC report by Khadija Tuseka on former Syria's testimony will bring us to the end of Gambia 24. I am your presenter, Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.